This is CBC Here and Now.
A man is dead after a police shooting in St. John's. We'll have the latest from the scene. A housing project meant to help with a growing transient population in Happy Valley Goose Bay has been put on hold. The province's housing minister will explain. Ladies and gentlemen, start your Dachshunds. We'll show you the wieners and losers from this weekend's Pet Expo. Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. A man is dead and an officer injured after a police shooting this morning in St. John's. Here and Now's Malone Mullen has more.
You're looking at the aftermath of a police shooting, one that left a man dead and a cop injured earlier today. Little more is known, though, about what exactly happened here this morning. The province's Serious Incident Response Team, known as CERT, would only say the shooting happened just before 11, that the man was pronounced dead at the scene, and that the officer involved went to hospital with an injury and has since been released. Soon after the shooting, civilians were seen filing out of the building and were loaded onto a bus. It's not known where they were headed, though, and police aren't answering questions. Earlier today, officers swarmed this parking lot. Police tape is still cordoning off the scene on the second floor. That's where an employment centre run by the provincial government was also closed while CERT investigated. The Royal Newfoundland Constabulary told the police watchdog that one of its own was involved in the shooting, launching the CERT investigation. A spokesperson said because of that investigation, the force could no longer comment. The death is one of only a handful of police shootings in the province. The last time something like this happened was 2021, when the RCMP killed a man in Grand Falls, Windsor. CERT hasn't yet released the man's identity, saying it's still in the process of notifying his family that the man has died. The watchdog is also withholding the identity of the officer involved. Malone Mullen, CBC News, St. John's.
A former resident of the Whitbourne boys' home is protesting outside Confederation Building this week with a dramatic visual. Jack Whalen has recreated the solitary confinement cell where he spent nearly 2 years of his life, and he put it on display. He wants government to change laws, and he wants to be compensated for his suffering. Ryan Cook reports.
Every night, Jack Whalen dreams of this box. 730 tallies, one for every day he spent in solitary confinement. He was just 13 years old when he was taken from this home in the Battery and sent to a youth detention center in Whitbourne. Now he's built a replica of his cell and he's taken it to Confederation Building.
It's hard to believe that people could do that to children. They must have children of their own. How do they treat kids like that?
The province settled last year with dozens of men who were sexually abused at the Whitbourne boys' home, but not Jack Whalen. That's because his abuse was physical, and Newfoundland and Labrador is one of the only provinces with a statute of limitation on childhood physical abuse. Jack Whalen had until he was 29 years old to come forward, but he wasn't ready then, and now he's out of time.
I don't understand why we don't follow the rest of Canada. The other 8 provinces have already changed it. But Newfoundland and New Brunswick are lagging behind. I really don't understand why, right?
Whalen has taken his case to court with the help of his daughter Brittany. When she was 16, she asked why her dad didn't help with homework, and that conversation ended with a promise.
My wife figured it's time to tell her and told her that I grew up in Whitbourne boys' home and I was not allowed to attend school, and I went in with grade 6 and I came out with grade 6. So my daughter was horrified at that and vowed to become a lawyer and take this case to court. So she has done exactly what she said she was going to do. So I'm very proud of her for that.
Brittany Whalen is asking the court to find the Limitations Act unconstitutional. That would pave the way for her father to be able to sue the government for his treatment at Whitbourne. Now, the easier route would be for the government to change the Limitations Act so Jack Whalen can leave this box in the past.
So I dream of it every night. I don't know, I'm just looking for some closure, right?
Ryan Cook, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, as wildfires rage across Canada, conservation officers are trying to ensure residents in this province are prepared. While the weather is more damp than dry, those who specialize in fighting wildfires want to make houses and cabins as safe as possible in the event a wildfire happens here. Have a look.
Oh, look, that's fire.
I think right now, with everything in the news, it's a great time to really focus on what we can do as homeowners and the general community to help prevent urban interface wildfires. Basically, it helps mitigate your home. It doesn't prevent it 100% from burning, but it's going to give a fighting chance if a wildfire goes through. So what we have is on the website, firesmartcanada.ca, is you can download your own self-assessment, as well as there's an app where you can do a quick 15-minute questionnaire. It'll tell you how fire smart your home actually is. So Fire Smart was an initiative looking at research. It's been around a long time. It's recently, in the last couple of years, been adapted by CBC, which is Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre, to hopefully help homeowners and communities become more fire smart. And what that means is looking at ways to mitigate wildfire in the urban interface and kind of help prevent those fires. So what it looked at originally was in large-scale urban interface wildfires, you might see a street where one house survived, 10 houses didn't. So they looked at why did that one house survive, and that's what these principles are based on, is why that house survived. The main zones here are 0 to 1.5 meters from your home, 1.5 meters to 10 meters outside your home, and 10 to 30 meters is the extended zone. These are the areas that you really have to focus on, and the reason it goes up to 30 meters is radiant heat. It's harder for a house to just self-ignite within that 30-meter zone. So if you can mitigate the fuel and the continuous fuel in that zone, your house has a better chance of withstanding a forest fire within your community. The best time to be prepared is to get it done now before we get that warm weather, that hot, dry winds that come in July, August. Hopefully we'll get a bit of warmer weather than what we have now, but if we can be prepared now, something as simple as keeping your lawn mowed, it's really simple things that we can do to help prevent some of these bigger fires hitting our houses. To me, it's extremely, extremely important, especially in light of what everything's going on in the country. The more we can do to prevent and mitigate, the better off we'll be in the long run.
Well, one Corner Brook High School student's life has changed forever. Claire Coleman received a $70,000 scholarship. She won accolades for her high marks and the nonprofit she started called Game Changers. Here Now's Colleen Connors met up with Coleman and her English teacher to learn about her big win.
Thought it was a prank. I didn't believe it, and then I just started to scream. Hi, my name is Claire Coleman, and I go to Corner Brook Regional High. It's the TD Community Leadership Scholarship, and so in total it's $70,000, and so it's $10,000 a year for 4 years, and then also $7,500 a year for living expenses. I think when I clicked the email, the notification, I didn't really realize what I was doing. I was exhausted. I was just crying like 20 minutes ago about volleyball. And then immediately it was just shock. I read it over, I think, 5 times. I thought it was a prank. I didn't believe it, and then I just started to scream. And I went around, I woke everyone up in my family. I called my mom, I went downstairs, and I told my dad right away.
My contribution was to write a letter of reference for her, attesting to her, dependability as a student and her leadership and the things that she does basically to help people.
So we decided to fundraise for Team Broken Earth because it's something I'm really passionate about. And since then, we've fundraised thousands and thousands of dollars through coming up with different fun and uplifting events to bring the community together as one. So basketball tournaments, concerts, bottle drives, bingo nights, anything, you name it.
I'm really happy for Claire because her work ethic was unbelievable, and she always wanted to do better than she did, even though she did very well. And her time management makes me look like I'm completely disorganized. She was always ahead of the game, and I just saw maturity in her that sort of belies her years as she's a teenager.
I think a lot of it just came from being an older sibling with 4 younger siblings, just being a role model to them and showing them that hard work always pays off. The plan after high school is to go to Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario to study health science. Hopefully one day working somewhere in the medical field, and I think the overall goal is to work with Team Broken Earth for sure. and I'm excited for a new adventure. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Queens.
Oh, good for her. Well, a plan to build a $30 million housing hub in Happy Valley Goose Bay has been put on hold. The project is meant to help the town deal with a growing transient population. Dozens of people have been living in wooded areas and have caused concerns about public safety. But the housing proposal has faced opposition from hundreds of community members who feel more services are needed to deal with issues of addiction. Housing Minister John Abbott says they'll delay the project to allow for more consultation.
By delaying time, we delay providing an essential, needed service for the Happy Valley Goose Bay region. I think most people involved in this recognize that. But at the same time, we want to get it right, so we'll do that. In the meantime, we are providing the supports for individuals who are homeless, who are needing shelter, who are also needing supportive housing in the community. The demand is increased there, certainly increasing elsewhere in the province.
Well, it was certainly a wet weekend out there pretty much across the board. Take a look at a snapshot of some of the numbers. Bishops Falls recorded 100.7 millimeters of rain. Arnold's Cove 73 millimeters. St. John's 67.6 millimeters. Springdale 32.3. So most of us saw well over 20 millimeters. Fogo Island at 22.7 millimeters. Now today, starting to dry out a little bit in some areas as temperatures climbed a little bit this afternoon. Deer Lake 18 degrees, but still looking at those cool temperatures all along the northeast coast. Only 7 degrees in St. John's, 3 in Twillingate. All that warmth through Labrador. Happy Valley Goose Bay at 20 degrees, 21 in Lab City. Even 21 in Burgeo this afternoon. So there definitely is some heat out there. We do have an area of low pressure keeping us in that onshore flow along the northeast coast, but the trend is for that area of low pressure to finally depart, which will likely lead us to some warmer weather. Tomorrow we will see even more heat through parts of Labrador. I'll get into the details when I come back.
Thanks, Ashley. Now to some sports news. The Newfoundland Rogues find themselves in a do-or-die situation in Albany, New York tonight. The Rogues dropped the first game of the conference finals on Friday at the Mary Brown Center to the Patroons. Despite a 37-point performance from star Rogues guard Armani Chaney, the Rogues were unable to keep up with Albany Friday night. The visiting team from New York blew out the home team 134-108. The loss puts the Rogues in a winner-go-home situation tonight in Albany, with the Patroons up 1-0 in the best-of-3 conference finals. Tip-off is set for 8:30 Newfoundland time tonight. Well, from courtside to poolside now, the National Down Syndrome swim team was in St. John's for a swim meet over the weekend. The team was invited by the St. John's Legends Swim Club. It was the first time they were able to swim together since October at the World Championships in Portugal. The president of the country's Down Syndrome Swimming Association says it was great for the team to reunite.
For the swimmers, it's an opportunity for them to get together, to swim together, to have the camaraderie of the team again. They went to Portugal in October of 2022 and they were able to compete together, but having this opportunity to come to Newfoundland and to swim together gives them that time to gel as a team and to meet new people and have the experiences of traveling as a team again.
The annual Walk to End ALS was held in St. John's yesterday. Around 100 people came together at McDonald Drive Junior High School and they walked around Kenny's Pond. They wanted to raise both awareness about the illness and funds for research and family support, with a provincial goal of over $100,000.
There's about 3,000 Canadians every year diagnosed with ALS, and about 3,000 Canadians pass away every year with ALS because there is no cure. You eventually lose the ability to walk, talk, even breathe. And along that journey comes a lot of challenges and a lot of medical equipment that's needed for people who would like to stay at home. Most of us here have friends or family members that either have ALS or have already been through a journey with ALS, and they're walking in memory of them. So this walk is such a it's a good day. It's a very touching day for a lot of people, and it's so important. You know, when you're dealing with such a challenging situation, to be able to feel like you're doing something to make it better.
I'm here today to walk for my mom and to show support for all other people with ALS. Her name is Linda. She's a really nice person. She's a very funny person as well. I think it was about 2020 when she got diagnosed with like foot drop, and from then on out it just kind of got like worse. So eventually, like I think it was August 2022, that's when they told me that she had ALS and explained to me what it was. I didn't know what it was at all beforehand, so like that kind of shows how like it's not well known like at all. So to have something to show support and make it, you know, more well known to raise money is really helpful.
I'm here in memory of my stepfather, Jerry Hayes. Probably one of the most fantastic men you could probably ever meet. Very, very caring, super kind, do anything for anybody, as a lot of people would. But he kind of helped mold our family together, as when my mother married him, and he had 2 daughters who are now, I consider my own sisters. Finding a cure is going to take money, so having a fundraiser and doing what we can, raise as much money as possible to help apply that technology so we can get a cure, so that families don't have to lose their loved ones earlier than they should. Jerry, we're here for you, and we'll always be here for you as long as we can do this walk. And he also made the best mac and cheese ever. Yeah.
Well, the annual Pet Expo was held in Mount Pearl over the weekend. The event is put off each year by Beagle Paws. All the proceeds go to the charity, and one of the main events was the Wiener Dog Race. Have a look.
This is actually our 15th year running the NL Pet Expo, and it's been a huge success so far. I think obviously when we first started out it was more like a pet fair on a smaller scale, but now we have many different events in our event ring, and we have different groups doing demonstrations, and of course the big popular Wiener Dog races, which brings a lot of attendance.
This is our 11th year doing the Wiener Dog races.
Awesome. So how did you come up with the idea of doing Wiener Dog races?
I had seen something on, I think it was YouTube, and so I decided it might be fun to try, and I made a post in the Facebook group, and next thing I knew I had 20 Wiener Dogs. Racers, there's no it's in fun, but yeah, people want to win.
This is a fundraiser for Beagle Paws, and it is our biggest fundraiser of the year. So all the admission and the exhibitors who purchase booths and that, all the fundraising from the show, after expenses, does go to help the organization. And it's good awareness too, and it's an opportunity for people to come out and see if they're interested in getting a pet, what's in the city, different breeders and organizations, if they want to rescue. We have it all here.
We're trying our best to document and to preserve what we can. It is a building that needs a lot of work, but there are some real treasures here.
The Masonic Temple in St. John's has some new owners, and a major renovation is on the way, but we'll show you the mysteries inside the temple before that work begins.
Although there's not much heat in the forecast for the next day or so for the northeast coast, there is plenty for parts of the province. We'll talk all about it when I go back.
I'm still kind of chuckling about that wiener dog race that happened on the weekend. That was so adorable and something nice to kind of lift our spirits in all of this gray weather.
Yeah, it was a great weekend to be inside.
Yes.
For that, for sure. Yeah.
It's going to be how much longer, Ashley?
Everybody in the newsroom is asking me that question. We've got at least another day of this. Things will generally dry out though, which is good. So it won't be this wet, cold rain, which is pretty much what it feels like. But
and it's just us, right? It's just us in the east. Everyone else has been having great weather. So.
Yes, well, except for the weekend, it rained everywhere. But yes, you're right. You know, today, very nice across parts of the province. Let's take a look at what the situation is. So we've got an area of low pressure offshore right now. That's spinning all of that moisture towards the island. And then we've got a little bit of a disturbance moving through Labrador at the moment as well. So that's going to increase your clouds as we head through to the overnight tonight, and then onshore flow, which means you'll likely see some drizzle, fog, and even some showers for parts of the coast as well. But for the most part, we still have those showers working their way across a good portion of the northeast coast. Now, the good news is we can see the harbor here and said goodbye to the fog. So that's lovely, but temperatures are failing to reach even what we should be sitting this time of year. Normally, we'd be sitting around 16 degrees. Right now, it is 7. And those winds are out of the north-northwest, gusting to about nearly 40 kilometers per hour. But again, unlimited visibility, so that's good. But pretty much all along the northeast coast, 3 degrees in Twilligate, 7 in Lassie still, and 5 in Gander. Now, as you head towards Deer Lake, 18 still at the moment. Burgeo, a beautiful 20 degrees this afternoon. And then temperatures up across Labrador vary, but generally around 20 degrees for Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and Lab City. In fact, you're in for some warm temperatures as we head through the day tomorrow. So here's a look at those showers that are working their way across eastern Newfoundland at the moment. We'll generally see that as we head through the evening hours tonight. But the rest of the province, essentially the western half of the province, the island anyway, will see those clearing skies as we head through the night tonight. But like I said, increasing cloud and also the chance of some showers, drizzle, or fog for coastal areas of Labrador. It shouldn't be too much, but you're still looking at that chance. And that will really be the story for the eastern half of the island as well, especially as we get into the early morning hours. That means with these cool, calm conditions for the most part, areas from Deer Lake through to the interior are looking at a frost advisory tonight. Typically low-lying areas will see that, could be hovering around the 0 degree mark, so we could be seeing that patchy frost. So if you do have anything planted, you're going to want to cover your frost-sensitive plants up tonight. Otherwise, temperatures should be above 0. About 4 to 7 degrees through the night tonight along the south coast, even warmer. Marystown looking at 11 degrees. But again, along the coast, you're still looking at those northwesterlies gusting between 30 to 50 kilometers per hour as you head west. The winds will ease. 8 degrees overnight in Lab City and between 0 and about +2 towards the coast. Now for tomorrow afternoon, it looks like the northeast coast of the island again is going to stay in this cloud cover through the afternoon. Still looking at some drizzle, patchy drizzle through the afternoon. Otherwise, a pretty lovely day across the province, pretty much. But by the time we get into near the time when the sun goes down, we should see the skies clear out for at least the Avalon and potentially the Bonavista Peninsula, maybe even Bonavista North as we get through the overnight. Temperatures tomorrow likely around 10 degrees. Winds not overly impressive, but out of the northwest between 30 to 50 kilometers per hour, so it will be a bit gusty. Clarenville, you'll hover around 9 degrees. Marystown, 19, and lots of sunshine through the afternoon. And again, Gander will hover around 8 degrees, but as you head towards Grand Falls, winds are a much different story. Nearly double that, I should say. 16 degrees will be your afternoon highs. And then as you head towards the west coast, light winds, lots of sunshine, 21 in Corner Brook. And then for the northern peninsula, even into the double digits. Mary's Harbor, same thing, 10 degrees. But that heat will be in Lab City, where you hover around 27 degrees. But look at that difference. Nain at +5. There is a warm up, though, for the rest of you across the Big Land. We'll talk about that when I come back.
Wow, quite the difference there. Thank you, Ashley. So we mentioned on Friday that this week we'll be talking to the Wiggles. They'll be performing in St. John's in September, and we wanted to give you a chance to ask them a question and maybe win tickets to the show. We have a couple of tickets to give away. So what would you like to ask the Wiggles? It could be anything. Do you have a question about their songs? Maybe you're just curious about what they like to have in their fruit salad. So shoot us a video of you asking the question and then email it to us at hereandnow.nl@cbc.ca, and be sure to get that video sent to us tonight, and we'll choose one lucky entry to receive free tickets to the Wiggles show. So just get out your phone and record your question. Well, there are secrets around every corner of Masonic Temple in downtown St. John's, but the historic building needs work, and the new owners are about to begin a major renovation. So before the temple is transformed, we asked two longtime Freemasons for us to have a last look.
Down to the dungeons.
My turn.
Your turn.
You guys really went down there?
Yes, sir. When we were younger, then.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Turn on your light on your phone.
If I don't go back, tell the people where I am.
Well, this building was the home of all the Masonic fraternity in St. John's. It's been a long time. We moved out in 17 years ago, and it's been a long time since we've been back, except for a couple of visits to the dinner theater.
Well, I wonder if the ghosts are still upstairs. They probably are. When this building was built, there was a really high membership of Freemasons, and there was prime ministers and lawyers and doctors, and there was a lot of money involved. It finally got to a point where our membership declined and we really couldn't afford to keep the building.
And have you guys seen it since?
No, we haven't.
Yep, the night I joined up here, I didn't know what was going to happen.
Wow.
Wow, that's amazing. The all-seeing eye is still there. Right? It's called the all-seeing eye. It just keeps an eye on us, and that's where we would say the master would sit up there, and there used to be a big metal plaque behind there. They've taken it down now, but I didn't know that big G was there behind that. That's new to me.
This is the carpet, and it's a silver carpet at our new building. It has the square and compass, which is a universally recognized symbol of Freemasonry.
How about this cool tile inlay in the floor?
Yeah, it's referred to in part of our Masonic rituals. It's called the tessellated pavement.
You've probably seen this building and you've heard a lot about signs and secret signs, and they're just there to remind us, about our rituals, and we're not really a secret society, we're just a society that has some secrets.
This is kind of freaky. Wow.
Well, it's referred to as a pit, and let's say that there's a lesson learned in that ceremony that you will never forget.
Mildly terrifying? Mildly.
Yeah, this one, I remember this one pretty good. When I looked down there, I wasn't sure.
The building was held by the Masons until 2008, and that's when I believe the Spirit of Newfoundland purchased it from them and ran their theater company here for many years. They did countless performances in this room. Until now, they were the only other owners. So for such a long-standing building, it's only changed hands 3 times. The future of this space, we're thinking about it in a broader sense of not just this building and what it can be, but how it fits into the fabric of the arts and culture community in Newfoundland and Labrador and beyond. We're trying our best to document and to preserve what we can. It is a building that needs a lot of work, but there are some real treasures here. Obviously, there's some symbolism that is tied to the Masons, and we want to be respectful with them. It's so easy to take something like this and just want to modernize it. But we think a better fit for the city is bringing it back to more of an older kind of aesthetic while looking to the future.
I mean, it's hard to see, but when we were here, when the building was functional, I mean, it was just awe-inspiring when you came into the room. The first night I joined, you know, I was just kind of overwhelmed, and I was thinking, wow, this is like a Buckingham Palace.
It was great to see the building again, and happy to know that there are plans in place to restore the building, and look forward to being able to come back and see the building once it's restored.
Well, the pause button has been pressed on a housing project in Happy Valley Goose Bay. For years, the town has been struggling with a growing homeless, transient population, dozens of people who have been living in wooded areas, many of whom are dealing with addiction, mental health issues, and intergenerational trauma. Now, in the last provincial budget, $30 million was set aside for a new housing hub. But not everyone is on board with the plan, and now the project is on hold. Joining me now is John Abbott, the minister responsible for housing. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
So when this project was first announced, there was a real sense of urgency to get this going pretty quickly. So what's changed?
Well, there is certainly a strong sense of urgency. What we've done in the intervening period is to make sure that we have all our ducks lined up. So we wanted to do more consultation in the community to make sure we're addressing the concerns that have been raised, and we've done that. We've surveyed individuals, we've had lots of meetings, we've had open houses, and we will continue to do that before we present a final proposal to the Town Council for approval.
What kind of concerns were raised?
Well, the concerns were really about what is the facility, really what is it about, what services are going to be offered, who's going to be housed there, those kinds of things, and we want to make sure we were as transparent as we possibly could to let everybody know what we are in fact doing there. And it's built on a community consultation we've had with, I don't know, 15 or so community agencies that are working and been working on this project now for about 2 years, certainly since I've been in this portfolio, and we're very keen and anxious to move forward. Certainly with the commitment financially, we're ready really to move forward now.
There was a petition that was signed by 900 people, and they were calling for things like a detox treatment facility to be included in this. Why wasn't that part of the original plan, and is this something you're looking at?
Well, we've looked at what we thought was certainly required in terms of a housing component, both shelter, supportive housing, second stage housing, providing other clinical services, such as managed alcohol. In terms of the detox component, we're still having those discussions, but I think we feel that that type of approach and service would need to be in its own facility, a standalone, separate from what we're proposing here. Now, we're still considering that, but that seems to be the direction we've had from the clinical people we've spoken with, certainly with Labrador Grenville Health leading up to now.
But is that something you might look at reconsidering? Are you going to look at the option of including it in that facility?
I think really the consensus is that that should be separate from what we are considering right now, and that it would have its own location, its own space, and its own programming, and that's something we'll be working on as well.
Mm-hmm. The Town Council in Happy Valley Goose Bay and the provincial government butting heads a little bit on this issue of a public safety, and they've raised some concerns with how the provincial government is approaching the problem. Did that have anything to do with pressing pause on this right now?
Well, it's intersected, obviously, with our proposal, and the provincial government has had a lot of conversations with the town around safety issues that have arisen. And again, this recent budget provided some additional funds to the town to help them secure some appropriate security support for the town. We will continue to work with them on this. We want to make sure we have the best proposal for the community. The people who are reliant on it need that, and that's been recognized right across the board. And so we're anxious to move forward. We will be issuing a call very quickly for a prime consultant to do all the final details, and then we'll issue a public tender later on in the fall to get construction started.
Mm-hmm. So it was supposed to start this spring, but now you're thinking to push it to the fall?
Yes.
Okay. And of course, you know, the longer this project is delayed, the longer it will take for, you know, people in that area to kind of get the help that they need. Does that weigh on you at all?
Absolutely, and I think that's the essential part here. By delaying time, we delay providing an essential needed service for the Happy Valley Goose Bay region. I think most people involved in this recognize that. But at the same time, we want to get it right, so we'll do that. In the meantime, we are providing the supports for individuals who are homeless, who are needing shelter, who are also needing supportive housing in the community. The demand is increased there, certainly increasing elsewhere in the province. And we've had the benefit of the gathering place and looking at how they constructed their services and programming, and we are going to be expanding that service. We'll take the best practices from the gathering place and bring them to the committee up in Happy Valley Goose Bay to see how they work there. We're looking at best practices across the country, and we feel that we now are pretty well close to have this right, and we want to move forward as quickly as possible.
Okay, Minister John Abbott, thank you so much.
Thank you. Great pleasure.
Hi, I'm Holly Hogan, author of Message in a Bottle, Ocean Dispatches from a Seabird Biologist. In 2017, I saw a loggerhead turtle chasing a mylar balloon with a long ribbon train on the open ocean. I knew it was hunting down that balloon because it was a dead ringer for a jellyfish. At that point, I knew for sure we had a serious marine plastic problem. This is a disposable face mask. It has been hanging from this tree for over a year. These loops have been found around seabird wings, pinning them in Kitty Vitty Lake here in St. John's. So if you have a disposable mask, please break the loops and please dispose of them responsibly, because in 2020, an estimated 2 billion of these guys ended up in the ocean.
Well, over 300 people hit the trails in Conception Bay South yesterday. They took part in the 11th annual Giver on the River Fun Run, a fundraiser held by Manuel's River Community Incorporated that's particularly popular with families. Have a look.
Today is our 11th annual Giver on the River, which is a community fun run or walk. It's meant to have anybody participate, whatever your physical limitations are, which is why we do it on all the trails that are accessible. And people can walk, run, stroll, do whatever. It's not about the time, it's about just getting out and participating and using the trails. And it's a fundraiser that we do every year. It was started originally to support our trails development and programming that we do as much as we can out on the trails. As an organization that's focused on connecting people with nature, it's important for us to use our trails for fitness and recreation as well. So our big goal right now is to take our trails that were footpaths or had trip hazards and widen them so they're all accessible to at least 2 meters and anybody can use them. But we're super excited. This is the highest registration we've ever had. It's record, actually. We usually like 300 people, and it's well over 300 this year, and we're so excited. You can scoot out here and feel like you're in the middle of the woods when you're out on our trails. Our river is 2 different rivers. We have like sedimentary rock where you're going to see fossils down towards the ocean, and the water is level and more flat, and you'll see the ducks. However, the upper part of our river is volcanic rock, more waves, rougher water, you know, so that part is being all developed this year. We're super excited to get that going as well. Like it'll be done before the summer's out. So we were hoping to make 15,000, and when I checked in with the team, we were like over 10, and that didn't include like all the sponsors and donations and pledges that people had brought in this week or last couple of days. So yeah, I'm expecting that we're going to beat it. I'd be really surprised if we don't.
Celebrations marking Pride season are getting underway across Canada. It's been 2 decades since the legalization of same-sex marriage in Ontario. Now, there are concerns about how to protect LGBTQ rights and new threats. Philippe de Montagnier has the story.
20 years ago.
Michael Leshner and his husband, Mike Stark, dig through old photos and newspaper clippings. On June 10th, 2003, the Ontario Court of Appeal ruled in favor of same-sex marriage.
When I got the decision, it was just exhilaration.
The Michaels to be lawfully married spouses.
A few hours later, the 2 lovers exchanged their vows and rings in front of dozens of microphones and cameras.
It really sunk in how historic it was. You know, we knew it would be big, but we never really envisioned it would be as big as it was.
Nays contre 133, 133.
Canada legalized same-sex marriage federally in 2005, becoming the 4th country to do so.
When we get those rights that are recognized, you can't take it for granted, ever.
This former judge helped update the legal definition of marriage in Ontario 2 decades ago, now seeing hundreds of bills targeting LGBTQ rights across the U.S. He warns against complacency.
You have to be vigilant about protecting those rights and ensuring they're not chipped away. And unfortunately, that's what's happening right now.
There's something wrong here.
For the executive director of Egal Canada, an LGBTQ advocacy group, that political climate is seeping into Canada as well.
There's violence at drag story time. And we know that there's violence and hatred being perpetrated against our trans communities.
Back in their Toronto loft, the married couple share those worries.
Concerned watching what's going on in the States. It's really quite scary.
The 65 and 75-year-old are passing the torch.
It's a younger person's fight. We will always lend our voices
to a new generation fighting for their rights. Philippe de Montagnier, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, a man in Australia has been charged with dangerous driving after 10 wedding guests were killed in a bus he was driving. Police say 25 other people were injured.
The police are investigating it, and any of these matters are always traumatic for everyone that attends, and especially for the family involved as well.
It happened late last night after the bus flipped on its side in a roundabout. The vehicle was taking wedding guests from a winery northwest of Sydney. Police took in the 58-year-old driver for mandatory drug testing. They say the cause of the crash may not be known for some time. Sunday's crash is the most deadly traffic accident in Australia in over 30 years. Silvio Berlusconi, former Italian Prime Minister and media mogul, has died in Milan. The 86-year-old had been hospitalized on Friday with a lung infection stemming from chronic leukemia. Berlusconi was the country's longest-serving premier in post-war Italy. Both his political and personal life had been riddled with controversies. One of the most notorious scandals involved the so-called Bunga Bunga sex parties with underage girls. He saw Russia's Vladimir Putin and late Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi as close global allies. A state funeral is planned at the Milan Cathedral on Wednesday. Well, we've been talking about a lot of the gloomy weather, but Wednesday is a bright spot, right?
It certainly is, and it can't come fast enough. That's for sure. We're going to see a lot of heat building as we head through the day tomorrow, and then looks like it's going to spill over. Good. Till we get to Wednesday. Let's take a look at the forecast. There is lots of sunshine there. Like I said, 23 degrees in Grand Falls, Windsor, 14 in Port aux Basques, because you are going to see that chance of showers moving in. But take a look at that temperature for St. John. 17 degrees is what we should reach. Now, the winds are onshore, so if you are closer to the water, the temperatures may not get that high. But right now, that's what I'm forecasting. Up across Labrador, lots of 20s for you as well. We will see some showers move in for Lab City, and temperatures are going to stay cool for northern Labrador. You'll hover around 5 degrees for Nain as your daytime high on Wednesday. Now, as we look ahead to the evening hours and then eventually into Thursday, there's a large system that's moving through, and it's going to bring that chance of showers right back in across the island, Lab West, and northern portions of Labrador as well. Now, towards the coast, you'll see those showers later on in the evening, but it is going to take those temperatures down quite a bit, back down to near or below where we should be sitting this time of year. 10 degrees again in St. John's, 13 in Gander. As you head towards the west coast, those temperatures will be hovering around 12 to 14 degrees, and then dramatically cooling down up across Labrador as well. So 14 to 17, going to stay around the 5-degree mark. For Nain through the day, and Cartwright, you will sit around 13 as a daytime high on Thursday. Now, the long range forecast after that nice 17-degree temperature on Wednesday, like I said, that drop on Thursday, but by Friday, we're going to see those temperatures for St. John's and Eastern Newfoundland into the teens, so about 14, 15 degrees by the time we get into the weekend. Saturday at this point, looking nice. And I really hope it stays that way, because it feels like it's been raining pretty much every weekend. So it might be some time to get things done outside. For central Newfoundland, for Thursday and Friday, you're looking at some shower activity. 12 to 15 degrees through the day. By Saturday, about 17 degrees, but still looking at that chance of showers. And then for western Newfoundland, same forecast, between 14 to 17 degrees, but we may see some peaks of sun on Saturday. And then for eastern Labrador, we're looking at those temperatures in and around 11 degrees by the time we get into Friday and Saturday. And a big drop in temperatures for those of you in Lab West, but you'll be hovering around 13 for your Saturday. Wow. I like that reaction. Great dramatic photo here. Larry Jenkins shared this photo. Double rainbow over Little Wabush Lake there. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, what a great shot.
I love dramatic shots like that. Yeah, if you have any weather photos that you would like to share to us, send them to Facebook, Twitter. Best place is to email them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Awesome. And before we leave you, I just want to mention one more time that we do have free Wiggles tickets to give away, and all you have to do to enter that contest is to send us a video of your little one asking the Wiggles a question. It could be anything, like what's their favorite color or their favorite food. Could be anything. Just email it to us at hereandnow@cbc.ca. Hope you got that. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. Good night.